Hey guys, Danny here. Today I'm looking at something a little bit different today. Today I'm taking a look at a smartphone. This is the MEIIGOO Note 8. It is a budget smartphone coming in at $190 at the time of filming this video. It has 4 gigabytes of RAM, 64 gigabytes of internal storage. It has an octa-core processor. It has a front-facing 8 megapixel camera as well as dual rear-facing cameras. Has a fingerprint sensor. It's also capable of 4G. It's got decent specs. It's a low price. I'm going to be unboxing this for you and doing an in-depth review. Let's jump straight into the video. And as always, before we start, if you'd like to pick up this product, you'll find a link in the description. So a pretty standard box in terms of a smartphone box. Pretty much what you would expect. And of course we've got the phone. I've got some nice wrapping on it, so I'm going to peel that off. I'm not sure if you can see this, but it looks like it's already got a protective film on top, which is nice. First impressions, this is a pretty nice looking phone, for the cost especially. You can see you've got a slight curve on the sides here. I'm not sure if that's actually part of the screen until I switch it on. Looks like we've got dual cameras on the back and flash, and I think this is our fingerprint reader. Let's see what else we've got in the box. Okay, I wasn't expecting that. You also get a case. That's really nice. And this appears to be a screen protector, but I think the phone's already got one on it, so I'm not sure about that. We've got our charging plug. Our USB cable. We've also got a quick start guide and a nice little SIM tool here. I'm going to try and turn this on, see if it's got any battery. I've connected to my Wi-Fi. I now just need to log in with my Google account. So it's given me the option to add a fingerprint here. I'm going to go ahead and test this. Okay, so I've added my fingerprint to the phone. That was pretty painless. Overall the screen looks nice and sharp. I'm quite surprised by how bright it's getting as well. I'll need to test this in a brighter situation outside and see how well it fares up. But just inside at the moment, the screen seems nice and bright. Even if I put it really close to my face, I can't see any clear pixels, so I'll have to test this a bit more as well. You can see in the top right, you've got the time, the Wi-Fi signal strength, battery life, and you've got the SIM here, which I haven't put in yet. We have on-screen buttons. There's no physical buttons on this phone. You can see they work really well. So far the phone feels relatively snappy, just on my initial impressions, but I will be doing some more in-depth tests. I'll be trying some games on here and some video streaming. So let's go ahead and go onto YouTube. And let's find something to watch. Oh look, it's the D show. Let's watch a video. Megapixel camera. It also has GPS. It's got flash. It also has a built-in rechargeable battery that doesn't use any proprietary software you need for money. So you're going to want to check out the rest of my video. I'm going to be unboxing this for you. We'll do some flight tests. I'll show you some photo and video samples. I'll also be giving you my final review. So stay tuned. So the audio quality seemed quite good during that video. You can see there's two speaker grills here at the bottom. I'm going to try and demonstrate here how quickly the phone unlocks with the fingerprint sensor. So I just pressed it then. That was pretty fast. I find the placement of the fingerprint sensor a little bit awkward. I'm sure I'll probably get used to it, but just the way you hold the phone, it feels kind of like you have to move your finger over to the corner, but I'm sure you'd probably get used to it. Just to check this is actually reading my fingerprint properly, let's try a different finger that I haven't put in on the phone. And it's doing nothing, so it is only allowing my fingerprint that I already have in the phone to unlock, so that's a good sign. So we've got a rear facing camera and also a front facing camera. Quality doesn't look too bad. I'm going to do some tests on these now for you and I will show you the results. So I'm now testing out the front facing camera. I'm holding the phone in portrait mode at the moment. This also gives us a relatively good indication of the microphone quality. The picture on screen looks quite good. There's no delay in me and what I'm actually seeing. So that's pretty good. And I'm now going to go ahead and test out the front facing camera. So again, I'm holding the phone in portrait mode. Hopefully I've got myself in frame. I've got the phone turned around because I'm using the rear camera. Hopefully the quality is better. It should be, considering we're using the rear camera. There are two cameras on the back, so I need to look into that a bit more and see what the dual camera does. This will probably allow you to do some sort of focus trickery where you have the background blurred, I'm guessing. Here are two photos from the front-facing camera. I was quite impressed with these. The rear-facing camera, however, I was a bit disappointed. They look blown out in general, and some of the longer-range shots look a bit kind of smudged in the background. So it performed okay, but I didn't think it was too brilliant. On the bottom of the phone, we've got our multitasking button, which enables us to easily flip through our apps. This seems to work relatively smoothly. I'm sure if you had loads and loads of stuff open, this would probably slow down. You've also got your home button and of course your back button. You can hide this menu by pressing this little button in the corner, so you've got a totally full screen experience. You then drag your finger up, it comes back. This is the pull down menu at the top, so you've got your quick options here. I like to have the battery percentage here at the top, so I'll go ahead and turn that on. So we've got our SIM tray at the top of the phone here. I'm going to use our SIM tool to get this open. Slides out. You've got your micro SD card slot and also your SIM slot. I've inserted my SIM into this phone. I'm in the UK and I'm using EE. You can see that I've got very good signal strength and I've also got a 4G connection. So that's really nice. I'm going to go ahead and test this out in a bit more detail for you. So first of all, I'm going to test out the Wi-Fi. Let's put a speed test app on here. It'll be interesting to see how quickly this downloads and installs also. I'm about a good 5-6 meters from my Wi-Fi point. So, okay, that installed really nice and fast. So far I've been, again, very impressed with the speed of this phone. very snappy. Let's go and do our speed test. Okay, that's pretty respectable. That's plenty fast enough for movie streaming and playing games. Let's see what the upload speed gets. What I'm going to do another speed test. I'm going to go right over to my Wi-Fi point so I get the max speed possible, and then I'll show you what that comes out as. Obviously, some of you will have stronger Wi-Fi connections than me, so I'm going to go ahead and test that now. Here's the speed I got when I was standing next to my Wi-Fi point. This is really good. This is the sort of speed I would get on my Galaxy S7 Edge, which I'm recording on now. Again, this is really impressive. We've also got a 9 millisecond ping, which is good. I now want to go ahead and test this on my data connection and see what sort of speeds I get on that. So we'll do this now. Here we are testing on 4G. So far this is just as fast as my Wi-Fi. That's really impressive. I do generally get really good speeds here on EE, so this is kind of to be expected. It was all just down to how well the phone would perform itself. I'm now going to run a Geekbench test on the phone. Here's the result of our CPU test on Geekbench. You can see here our single core performance compared to some other phones. You can see it's not close at all to more mainstream phones. But for a budget smartphone, this is to be expected. Let's go to our multi-core performance. And here you can see a comparison to some other phones here. Here are the results for the compute performance test. You can see we've got our device here at the top and then some other more mainstream devices to compare it to. I've installed Asphalt 8 Airborne onto the game. This is quite an intensive game to play, so I'm going to test this out and see how the phone performs. I've also got the speakers on max volume. I'd highly recommend trying this game if you haven't played it before. It's a lot of fun. It did look like it was running at a slightly lower frame rate than if I'd be playing on my Galaxy S7, but it was still perfectly playable and a lot of fun. This is quite an intensive game, so there'll be a lot of others you can play that will work fine. The MEIIGOO Note 8 is a pretty solid device. It does have some downsides, of course, for its low price point. Its build quality is fairly good. If I was being a little bit picky, I think the buttons are a little bit thin and need to be a little bit more tactile when you press them, but they do work and I didn't have any major issues with them. The fingerprint sensor is really impressive. It works really fast. It unlocks the phone really quickly, as you can see there. I'd have to say probably the biggest disappointment for me would be the rear-facing camera. The video was okay and the photos were not bad either, but I found often in the video the shots were blown out or there seemed to be kind of like this fuzziness. that wasn't really great for a 16 megapixel camera. Nonetheless, it's not bad. I think it would perform better in brighter light situations. I think for the price point you do get some decent specs in this phone with 4GB of RAM and octa-core processor, also 64GB of internal storage. That's not a bad deal. The screen seems pretty good. It gets fairly bright. It would have been nice to be able to test this in direct sunlight, but it's been quite overcast for the past few days, so I haven't been able to test this properly. But for indoor use, it's got more than bright enough for me. I also did some call tests with the phone. The call quality was pretty good. I found that the person talking to me was a little bit quiet and could have been a little bit louder. The loudspeaker option seemed to work pretty well and was a bit better in terms of volume. The person on the other end said they could hear me quite clearly. They said it was a little bit echoey and a bit tinny, but they said they could understand everything I was saying and it was relatively clear. The phone's packing a 3300 mAh battery, and I was getting some decent battery life. I didn't do any specific battery tests, so I didn't fully drain the battery, but judging by the stats I was getting, I probably would have gotten 4 to 4.5 hours battery life, which isn't amazing, but it's not bad either. One thing I think that's a bit strange is on advertising this phone, they say it has an infinity display and mention that it's curved on the sides. The sides of the phone are curved, but the screen itself doesn't actually curve on the phone. To me, it looks pretty much straight. You only have a curve on the body of the phone or the actual screen, which I think's a little bit strange. I don't think they specifically claim that the screen is curved, but they call it infinity edge like some other phones have, where they have obviously their curved screen. So just bear that in mind if you're thinking of purchasing this. I thought the speakers on this phone weren't bad. You've got 2 bottom speakers here. I thought they could have been a little bit louder at times, but they were fine for what I was using them for gaming, watching videos, and also when I used the loudspeaker option, that seemed to be okay. Overall, for the price point of this phone, I think it's not a bad deal. But what I would say is if you was willing to pay a bit more money for some slightly higher end phones, I think you get more value for money. However, this one's not bad. If it fits your price point and it has the specs and the features that you want, I don't think you'll be too disappointed with it. There's some minor issues that I've explained, but I don't think it's too bad. As always, if you'd like to buy this product, you can find the link in the description. I really hope you enjoyed the video, guys. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. And of course, if you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing for more videos like this one. And I will see you in the next one.